Hey guys, it is Wingy here and welcome to a brand new video. Now, Star Wars The Last Jedi is just around the corner, so I thought what I would do is talk about some of the do's and don'ts for me personally going into this next movie. I mean, it doesn't matter now because the movie's already wrapped and I assume it's pretty much done. But these are sort of my hopes and my worries about the movie. And to be honest, at this point as well, I'm not that excited for The Last Jedi. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it was because The Force Awakens wasn't absolutely stellar, and if you've watched my channel for a long time, then you will know that I wasn't too keen on Rogue One either. But either way, it's a Star Wars movie, so yeah, I'm gonna see it. Anyway, let's get into it. So first of all, I'm gonna go with something that I hope this movie does. One personal complaint for me with The Force Awakens was the lack of focus on the older characters. Han Solo was really the only character from the original trilogy that The Force Awakens focused on. Obviously, we did get a bit of Leia and we got Luke right at the very end, but there wasn't really much of an emphasis on them. I get that this is a new part of the franchise, but still, when you know that those people are in the movie, you want a bit more of them. Harrison Ford stole the movie in my opinion, but obviously we're not going to get too much of him anymore. Spoiler, he's dead. Stabbed in the chest. He fell. He's not coming back. The planet blew up whilst he was in it. He's dead. He's completely dead. Now, I know that we're definitely going to get a bit more of Luke, and from what I've heard based on what they're doing with Carrie Fisher, I do think that we are going to get more of Leia as well. I really want the foundations of this story to be built around them. Now, it's not essential that it shouldn't just be a Luke movie, it shouldn't just be a Leia movie, but I think it would help bring people into this world a lot better if you focus a bit more on Luke Skywalker and what he's been up to and what Leia has been doing with the Resistance. Since Carrie Fisher's death, I don't think anyone, even Disney, are 100% sure on what is actually going to happen with the character of Leia now. So if this is her last movie, then let's give Leia a lot of screen time. And I pray to God we see Luke's green lightsaber. I just want to see that. If I see that, I'll be happy. That and good character development, and Luke is actually doing something, and the reason for why he's a complete and utter hermit at the minute makes sense. Although being in charge of a number of kids and they all get brutally murdered, that is kind of a valid reason. So next, I'm going to talk about something that I have a worry about with this movie, and that is going to be that it is a rehash of The Empire Strikes Back. I think this is a fair worry. I mean, after The Force Awakens, a lot of people noticed how similar it was to A New Hope. And in my first ever video on this channel, which, I mean, you can watch it if you want, but I reckon it's shit. In the first ever video I did, I defended The Force Awakens on the grounds that I didn't think reusing too many elements from A New Hope was such a bad thing. The way that I put it was basically, it's trying to get people back into this universe once again, playing on people's nostalgia. But they've done that now, they shouldn't really do it again. I know there are a lot of parallels between each of the trilogies. A lot of the story beats in the original trilogy were then copied and used in the prequel trilogy. However, what the prequel trilogy did right was it used them very, very subtly. What I'm hoping Disney doesn't do now is just rehash Empire Strikes Back so it's pretty much the exact same film once again. Empire Strikes Back is a great film, but I don't need to see it again. If I want to watch Empire Strikes Back, I'll go and watch Empire Strikes Back. I don't need some big revelation at the end that the big bad or some main character is Rey's parent. I don't need anyone losing a limb. I don't need Captain Phasma to step into the Boba Fett role. Just tell the Star Wars story that you want to tell. Sure, borrow stuff from what's come before, but don't rely on it, because looking back, I do think The Force Awakens did that a bit too much. I understand why, but they did do it a bit too much. The next thing that I hope to see in The Last Jedi is a bit more focus on Kylo Ren. Again, in my first video defending The Force Awakens, I said that people probably didn't understand what they were doing with Kylo Ren. He was made out to be this big Darth Vader-like figure, when actually he's technically just an apprentice and he isn't really that skilled and he hasn't really been tested that much. That didn't really fully come across in the film and a lot of people missed that. He's basically peacocking all throughout The Force Awakens. So in this movie, obviously now he's at a point where Rey bested him. I want to see how he reacts to that. I mean, he's killed his own father, so I don't think there's any redemption for him. And based off what we've seen in the trailers, Kylo Ren doesn't appear to be wearing his helmet too much, which gives me the impression that he's going to be a bit more vulnerable. I still don't think he's 100% sure on what Snoke is doing and whether or not what he is doing is the right thing to do. So now is the perfect time for us to understand his motivations 100%. Kylo Ren doesn't need to be another Darth Vader. Kylo Ren needs to be the best Kylo Ren that he can be, or the best Kylo Ren there ever will be. I don't know. But we don't always need a villain that is complete and utter badass. Sometimes a villain that is a bit more vulnerable, a bit more emotional, and a bit more relatable can actually be really effective. So if they explore that more with Kylo Ren, then I think this movie will do fine. My next worry for this film is that it may wreck some of Star Wars continuity. Now, from what I can gather from trailers and from what other people are saying, I am kind of worried that the whole Chosen One prophecy, they're gonna say that it was wrong. Now, obviously, they do have the grounds to go with that. I mean, Yoda said in, I think, Revenge of the Sith that the prophecy misread it could have been. But still, I feel like that prophecy is done now. Why don't we just explore something else? I don't want a load of bullshit where it's like, well, actually, Rey was the Chosen One. When you watch the first 6 movies, you realise that the actual Chosen One was Anakin, and he did bring balance to the Force. Obviously, it's fucked up again, but instead of saying, oh, well, actually, no, he wasn't the one, it's now this character, it kind of makes it out to be a waste of time for the first 6 movies then, because if it wasn't him, then what's the point in introducing this character 7 movies in and reveal, oh yeah, they're actually the Chosen One? It just seems a bit redundant, and it would kind of ruin, or lessen at least, the other movies. Maybe that's a bit pedantic on my part, I don't know, but I don't want them to mess with that. My next hope for this movie, I hope that they explore the rise of the First Order and how they came to be. It does kind of feel like the First Order are there and are like the new Empire and have already established themselves as the new Empire, and the Resistance is there purely to sort of ease them down a bit, similar to the Rebellion. And it doesn't really make sense. Like, how did this First Order just spring out of nowhere? Obviously there were going to be remnants of the Empire, but I thought in this trilogy at least they would have flipped it on its head. So it would be very similar to how they did it in the prequel trilogy, where the good guys were mostly in power, and then you had like the Separatists in the background planning and plotting. But you never felt in the prequel trilogy that the Separatists were the main force in the universe. And then you see how the Republic turned into the Empire. It logically makes sense when you watch it all together. But with the First Order, they are literally just there. I want to know how that happened. It seemed like having another empire just because it's convenient, when that isn't really a good thing. Again, it kind of makes the rest of the saga a bit pointless, because it's like, well, if we've gone through all this trouble to create the Empire and then destroy the Empire, let's just have another one. So I really, really hope that we do get a bit more exploration into the First Order. But that's just what I think. Let me know in the comments though, what hopes and worries do you have for The Last Jedi? If you enjoyed this video, make sure you leave a like on it. Subscribe if you want to see more stuff on my channel. And if you do that, I would love you forever. But until next time, guys, you take care of yourselves. Goodbye. The next thing that I hope to see in the Return of the Jedi? No, that was years ago.